Okay, been asked to have a look at the condition of the roof at number 41 Doveton Avenue in Eumemmerring. This is a group of single-storey residential units, probably around about 40 years of age, and they do retain the original concrete tile. Now, the tile itself is of a very high quality. This was around about the period where they had nailed the brief on how to manufacture a good concrete tile, and before the time that they started to cut corners. So you probably end up with the best, one of the best concrete tiles ever made, at least 30 or 40 years of life left in them. You do, however, have an issue, and a pretty serious one, with maintenance. The bedding and pointing on the majority of these ridge caps has failed pretty much completely. It's no longer securing the cap to the tile, and that means that it's prone to blow off in high winds, which can compromise your insurance coverage. So you don't want to leave it like this. If the worst does happen, you can find yourself with a neglected claim or a denied claim. Valley irons are weathering as well, and they should obviously be replaced at the same time. Anything that you do on single story or double story, you do have to have edge protection, so safety rails erected. So it can get a little bit expensive doing maintenance, particularly if you're going to be up there every few years. So the idea with this sort of thing is do it once and do it properly. So when you talk about the bedding as well, avoid companies that talk about re-bedding where required. What that really means is that they're going to leave the old mud, the old mortar in the roof, and they're going to patch over the top, pretty much put a band-aid over a crack, which is never a good idea. So when you do this sort of thing, well, look, the scope of works for a bed and point is pretty much as follows. First of all, the safety rails have to be erected, as I've said. The old mortar would come out completely. We don't leave anything behind. A new foundation of concrete would be mixed up, 3 parts sand, 1 part cement, and that would be installed, and the ridge cap set back over the top of that. Everything's troweled back, and then over the top of the new concrete, an acrylic flexible compound would be applied. This is like a silicon sort of a gel, if you like, with a glass sand mixed through it. It's designed to be a lot more flexible than standard concrete, also a lot stickier, so it bonds and creates a much better seal between the cap and the tile. It's also waterproof as well, so it does keep the concrete dry. Look, you'd normally get a 10-year warranty, or we would offer a 10-year warranty out of a job like this, but you can expect to get 30 or 40 years before anything needs to be done again. Those valley irons would also be stripped out and replaced. We'd use colour bond, just because it's a lot more resilient than the plain zinc, and underneath the tiles, instead of using a mortar mix, we would use strips of rubber soaked in bitumen. That's just a far more effective way of sealing the valleys up. Now, that is all you have to do on this roof. You'll probably hear a lot of companies, and you may have heard rumours about how you need to paint and seal a concrete tile. A lot of companies will try and convince you that the tile will become porous and brittle and pretty much be unserviceable unless you do paint it. That's untrue. Concrete tile will actually get harder as it ages. It does eventually wear down and get brittle, but painting the tile is not really going to achieve anything. The concrete just ages, and once it gets to a certain point, it's no longer serviceable. So the option to fully restore the roof should be considered as an aesthetic improvement. Now, in saying that, it is a fantastic improvement to the property. These roofs do look pretty ordinary, would be a word that you could use, and a good quality roof restoration, like you're seeing in these images, will really give the whole job a lift. Now, I say good quality because there's lots of different ways and lots of different paints out there that you can use to do this job. A lot of them are cheap and nasty and won't last very long. You've got to be extremely careful that the coatings you put on will never peel. And I mean that because once it starts to peel, you're stuck with a peeling roof until it all peels off. You cannot apply anything to the top of a peeling roof, obviously, because it will peel off with the old product. You also need to use products thick enough that the finish is going to come up rich and creamy. Thin house paints, which is commonly used, is going to look very patchy and not that nice at all. So look, I'm happy to give you an option for a proper professional roof restoration as well as a bed and point. Keep in mind, as I said, that I'm not insinuating that it's absolutely necessary. It is an aesthetic improvement, so the option is entirely yours, but it will add considerable value to the appearance and obviously the price of the units. So it is an option that's well worth considering. So apart from the bed and point, which obviously has to happen with the full restoration also, you would need to high pressure clean the roof. We use big commercial gurneys so that we don't have to use chemicals, which can actually damage the tile and obviously kill the plants in your garden. But these will pump out in excess of 4,000 pounds of pressure, well and truly enough to get rid of the pollutants and the dirt that builds up on these tiled roofs. Now, the first application is crucial because you want to make sure that nothing peels. So what we use uses a very thin, highly adhesive priming fluid, and that goes into the tile and soaks in and penetrates in. So in effect, the coatings actually are becoming part of the tile. They're buried in under the surface. Virtually impossible for anything to ever peel, provided the cleaning's done properly. Over the top of that, a very thick, heavy product. This is in excess of 50% solids. It's a high solid sealer that is designed to build the surface of the tile up so you get that really nice creamy finish to the restoration when it's finished. 2 more applications, so it's a 4-coat system in total. 2 more applications of a high-grade copolymer acrylic membrane, and it's a paint, as all of them are, but it's a very thick, high quality of copolymer. It's a much better type of compound. So it is acrylic. It's about 4 times thicker than a house paint, and again, it's designed to give you that nice, even, consistent, smooth finish. Finished result, you've seen what they look like, so it comes up looking very, very nice, virtually like a brand new roof again. Look, I think it is probably worthwhile doing it. The additional money that it costs is going to add far more than that to the price of the unit, but if this is all about dollars and cents and you're watching your budget, just bear in mind the bed and point is crucial and you must do that. Restoration is more of an option, but one that's worthwhile. I think that's pretty much it. My name's Steve. My contact details are in the body of the quote. If there's any queries or questions regarding this, feel free to give me a call. Thanks very much for your time. Bye-bye.